Hi everybody, I want to welcome you to Poetry is Protest and Political Action. My name is Mike Jurkovic. I just so happen to be the poet laureate of Ulster County. So that's why I'm trying to do these things, just to bring the community together a little bit. The other two that I've done previously to this one, we did one up at an Inquiring Minds bookstore last month. The folks wanted it to be a discussion. No, sorry, that's what the other. Folks wanted it to be an open mic, so we read to each other. We threw some ideas around however you wanted to do it. The one we did at Elting Library was more of a conversation. People were chatting with each other. Hey, you know, how can we talk to one another? How can we make the community understand what it is? That kind of stuff. So however this wants to morph into is how we'll take care of it. If you guys want to do an open mic, we'll do it that way. I have brought poems from Adrian Rich and Langston Hughes and Ferlinghetti and Ginsberg and all those wonderful people. If you want to pick stuff up, you can take them home if you want. Because Poetry is Protest has been going on for as long as someone has put the pen to a stone, or the chisel to a stone, or spit on a rock, and then trace it out with their fingers.
Great metaphors.
So we've been doing this for a long time. It still goes on today, whether you're writing songs, whether you're writing it into a notebook, whether you're chatting it online, however the case might be. It goes on today because society's in free fall, government's in free fall. They always turn to the artists and for some kind of guidance. And that's why hopefully we're going to try and be here today. For a little bit of guidance, a little bit of camaraderie, a little bit of community, however we turn it out to be. So my two cohorts who will be joining me today are two wonderful poets, Greg Cornell Cheryl A. Rice. And I want to bring Greg up first. He's going to read a few pieces, and then if you want to ask him questions about them, please feel free. If that generates some kind of conversation, please do.
Are we going to read from our chairs, do you think?
If you're comfortable. You got to read so that Toby can hear you, though.
Outside voice.
Outside voice.
The Shakespearean proclamation.
I close the door.
Yeah,
you can really project.
The library has been kind enough to give some, lay out some refreshments, so please avail yourselves of that. And our first reader, Greg Cornell.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm just going to sit here, and I'm going to start by expressing some of the difficulties I've experienced writing political poetry. It's hard to do. We were just going over some of that this morning, Mike and I. If you write purely political, it comes off polemic because that poem has to get somewhere. If it doesn't get anywhere, it may be good poetry inherently, but it may not be good political poetry. To throw up circumstances like you might in describing a rock or a garden or your inner feelings or whatever, is not going to make great political poetry. The other night at an event, a poet I know read Tennyson, and it got me thinking. Assuming as a baseline that we're all unhappy with fascism, what kind of rhetoric, what kind of poetry is up to the job? If it's up to the job, it's erring on the side polemical, perhaps. Is polemical always bad? They're beating our socks off right now with rhetoric and memes and words that echo and resonate for them in all kinds of simplifying ways. We risk simplifying too, edging into the polemical. So where I landed in some ways temporarily is the idea that the personal is political, and that I want to open that up a bit and not just give a polemical description of the personal as political. But that is one way to, that and humor are the two ways that one can inhabit a space politically in a poem and still retain some sense of the mystery that a poem almost requires of us in some ways. So I'll read, I brought three, I'll just read the first two. Apropos of what I was saying, this is called Poor Polemic. Polemic, tool of the mighty and wise. We re-enter history with our pants down, as so many have done, stumbling in the wake of an unexpected mule, a, say, orange nemesis who wakes the woke. And now we risk death to end his destruction. Where is our prophet who advises our heart, strengthens our hand? Tyrants give polemic a bad name, just when polemics are needed. Word summary and exalted, directed jeremiads for compassion, integrity, peace, vigilance in tempo, and the sound of bells and chants, the roiling seasons of justice measured with even hands. Thanks. I'm aware that I got caught up in the music of it, and I feel like I was just barely hanging on to the intense meaning I was trying to hold on to. That's another risk in this, is not necessarily sing-song, but something that, builds to a great climax and somehow loses one or two threads along the way. So here's an example of the personal as political for me. And I'll briefly say, it's predicated on the idea that if something happens to us in our lives that denies us our dignity, our justice, what's due to us, we might find simpatico crowds of people who have had a similar kind of experience, even if the particulars don't match. There is an ugly face in America. Oh, this is called I Saw It Up Close. There is an ugly face in America. I saw it up close. I saw at 14 guards at a juvenile facility acknowledge rape in their facility. The heads of those facilities said, "What are you going to do? They're animals." And I saw them not do a goddamn thing. Bloody, undignified rape, and they did nothing. I was one of those boys, pretty and small. They raped me for 5 days and more. They took my childhood. They took my identity. They took my body and made it theirs. They confused my soul forever, as in seriously fucked up. There is an ugly hand in America, the bully hand, the stiff backhand. It pretends to order, to the sublime even, but it is bluff and bombast and splinters. Imitates our nails and hair and spit, but it is not a human hand that strikes us. I say what ought to be said against the strike, the sweep, the barbarity, the forced feeding, the agitated blows. There is a dark, shattered heart in America. Words perish from old age, kind, moral words. But hatred coins a new language. Brutality sings a new song, an ancient tune with new words, and the heart embraces ugliness. Rage arms us with iambic loathing, but you would take me, crush my parts to feel better. To feel your heart slow, to win a beat, ah well. For no good reason I set aside my fear. That ill heart is here among us, part of our dread, a wicked heart who wants to punish. Out of smoke I would elicit fire and light, and I fail. There is an activist in America who haunts the railings of democracy to deliver whale wounds to democracy just behind the fence, straight to the heart. We expected clumsy and monolithic fascism. They come with subtle knives. It is all an illusion. Chateaubriand said, "We have come a long way from the severe parents of that time," to which I say, oh yeah? We are herring in a stout barrel about to be sealed. The fasci, refashioned as curved walls, 3 iron bands. Our freedoms are shadows in the light of day, vanishing as the top is secured.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to ask Greg any questions,
Yeah.
please.
I just want to make a comment that that poem captured the cruelty that exists in the world. Many years ago, I had the opportunity of interviewing for a job at the Division for Youth on 9W it was at that point. I forget where it was exactly.
Okay.
And I realized I couldn't take the job they wanted to offer it to me, but it was too painful. to see what all these beautiful young men being jailed, imprisoned, treated like animals. Anyway, I could go on, but thank you, because
You're welcome.
you really captured that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mine's more simple one. Could you define polemic? I've never heard that word.
Polemics are sort of standard aphoristic language, you know, like a polemic is, we must lower taxes, or so-and-so is a blight on the political. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not a dialogue. It's broad statements or specifics that attack.
It's very positional.
It's very positional. That's an even better way to say
Yeah.
it, I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you.
No, I understand what it is. Because sometimes words escape me sometimes, and it's just like, okay, I'll go look it up later.
Thank God.
Yeah. Our next reader is going to be Cheryl Rice. I've known Greg for many, many years. I've known Cheryl even longer. So, Cheryl, you're up.
Oh. That's the short version, right?
That's a short
Yeah,
version.
okay. I don't really write political poetry either. It creeps in, especially if you're writing uninhibitedly, and I try to do that. The older I get, the less I care. I would say, if anything, my poems get to be, I can't say my poems because they're all over the place, but I write a lot of feminist-oriented things, sometimes politics. And I do think poetry is political, no matter the topic. As long as you're exercising your current right of free speech. And you have to continue to, even if it's outlawed. I keep hoping I'll wake up and he'll be dead, because I think he's the linchpin for this mob. But art in general is political because it speaks to the true human experience. It speaks of it, explains it. And that's the only definition I have for art. So in whatever medium or whatever, wherever you are, anything less than that, and you're just bullshit. I have that Ferlinghetti poem in my collection too, but if you have that over there,
Yep.
I'll read it at the end. But, let's see. I just have to alter this one a little bit because I wrote it a few years ago. The next 8 years. Title is irrelevant anymore. I'll be 64 in February. In 8 more years, I'll be of legal age to retire, if I hit the lotto. I will not allow the antics of 45/47 to ruin these next 8 years of work, of art, of major organs poised for minor failure. Nor will I refer to him by any of the clever names the media has concocted: Cheeto in Chief, Orange Monster. He will not be named at all in my house. No flag, no celebration at his ascent, a name that would be as fire on the tongue, unworthy of praise or energy to demonize at any turn. In the Bible book, God asks Adam to name the animals. Even with all his work, they aren't complete until Adam labels them. Even the earth is unfinished until God made a light to show off all the working parts. In my house, 45 will never be complete. In my lucky house, 2 sound white people, intelligent, working for now. We have the luxury of leaving 45 in the dark, his name missing from our personal headlines, private conversations over regular dinners in well-heated bedrooms. Presidents come and go, all colors. It is the woman down the block I'm concerned with today. Can she read? Where does she sleep? Will her body be as safe as mine for the next 8 years? How can I help? I wrote that during his first reign of thuggery. And I want to get this one in too. I'll leave the title. I hope I can be as brave as my friend Mary, who, when confronted with red flashing lights and SWAT teams running down her block at 5 a.m., got out of bed, put on pajama bottoms and headed for the bathroom. If they want me, this is how they're gonna find me. Turned out to be a drug raid, not the roundup of mouthy liberals that we're all waiting for under Le Grand Orange's regime. But even so, I'm pretty sure we're both relatively safe. Cis, white, female, lower middle class, upper middle-aged residents of a solidly blue state. Despite the infrequent Trump is God signs off the beaten paths of pavement, I am relatively secure. I know how to live without $6 eggs, ground flaxseed, and I work from home till spring, so gas is a minor concern. Still, my passport is handy, my Spanish lousy, but that's my one resolution this year. Don't make yourself sick over the looming storm. Be ready, be available, be on call when a march is required. Pajama bottoms at hand, tits at attention, nipples set on stun.
No estoy lista.
Gracias.
Great. Boo
So-
boo the bay. East, whatever hell it is.
I speak a little Hebrew too,
Oh,
but
good.
that will do me no good these days.
I was just wondering why hold the title on that one.
Well, because the title was Tits Out and on the Job. So
Mhm.
it kind of sells it. It's kind of spoiler,
Gives
I
it away.
guess. No, I should.
Right,
The punchline at the end.
Punchline,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
it's great. That
That's
was
all.
very good, very powerful.
Anybody want to read something of their own?
All right, I'll read something. I appreciate Toby, but I want to just record it for myself too. So I have a right direction.
And
Um,
his assistant.
You got it? Okay. Okay, so I have a self-published book called Pain, Love, and Politics. And this is actually the last poem in that book. One of the themes I look through in my book is untreated pain and how pain untreated can hurt us, but also the people around us. And personally, I think that the Israeli-Gaza conflict, the genocide there, is the epitome of that on a mass scale.
Mm.
So, so this poem is actually the last in the book. It's called Destroy Gollum. And it's in 4 parts. So, Destroy Gollum by Alex Scofie. Part 1, The Palestinian. She told me that the school had held her back. She was repeating the grade. I don't understand. You passed my class with flying colors. I whispered, you were one of the smartest kids in class. How could this be? They told me I missed too many days of school. Wait, what? And suddenly I remembered. You see, last year, while other kids were laughing and others were off having first kisses, she was fighting. Not with boys, not with girls, but with men. Men with guns, men shooting bullets, men dropping bombs. Hold up. I lost the page. One second. Sorry, give me 1 second. Not with boys, not with girls, but with men. Men with guns, men shooting bullets, men dropping bombs. She lost an aunt, and then a cousin, and then an uncle, and then, well, she told me so many I lost track. I don't think she's lost track. Part 2, Gollum. Was this wise to do? A week later, I read the story of Gollum to the class. In the town of Prague in the 1500s, a lie was being spread about the Jews, that they were mixing the blood of Christian children with the water and the flour to make their matzah. The people in the ghetto, walled in their pen like animals, knew what this blood lie meant. They knew that the mobs would be coming, knocking at their prison door. So one rabbi read and studied the ancient texts, and in his sleep, amongst the blood and the fire, he saw a word, Gollum. He used the Jewish language to breathe life into the mass of clay. Here, Gollum was born, a defender. With the word emet upon his head, he would fight to protect the Jews from the Christian mob. When the pogrom came, the giant defended the ghetto. He held shut the gates of the ghetto and fought back the mob. But the destruction he caused was too much. It made the rabbi shudder. Eventually, the emperor called for a meeting with the rabbi. He asked, "Will you conquer this city with your giant and enslave us all? Would a people who celebrate the end of their own slavery wish to inflict slavery on others?" He asked, "How long will the monster live?" The rabbi said, "Until the Jews were no longer in danger." The emperor guaranteed their safety upon one request: destroy Gollum. The rabbi agreed, but left with a threat. "It will be done, but if we are threatened again, the Gollum will return stronger than before." The rabbi found the giant sitting in the cemetery, gazing at the tombstones. The rabbi asked the giant to come near. The giant refused. The Jews were safe. The giant knew what this meant. He might only be clay, but he still yearned for life. He found it precious. The giant threatened to not obey the wise rabbi. The rabbi lashed out with his staff. He erased a letter from the giant's forehead. Emet became Met. Truth became death. The Gollum was given a resting place in the synagogue, covered in books of prayer, only to awaken when the Jews became endangered once again. When a desperate need for justice is united with holy purpose. Part 3, the Jew. The girl asked me if I was Jewish. I answered yes. She looked at me. I could feel my own guilt stare back at her, back at me, from her child eyes. Would she hate me? I wouldn't blame her if she did. For her cousin, for her aunt, for her uncle, for the ones I couldn't remember. I knew she would. I knew she would. If I were her, I would. And then she said it. When are you getting the new Wolverine comic? When are you getting the new Wolverine comic? She looked confused and then asked, "Why are you laughing?" Part 4, destroy Gollum. The Jews of modern day were threatened once again, with the threat of all threats. They awoke Gollum, a giant, for protection. He was written by Ringelblum. He fought with them in Warsaw, but he is no longer Gollum. Emet gave him life. However, Emet has long since vanished. The word's more hidden as the Gollum grew. It has since vanished on the giant. The giant now has holy purpose, but no justice, never truth, just seething rage. In our sacred pact, we have forgotten a world that offered us peace. It once did. It only made one request: destroy Gollum. Let me. So I just have to do for the little camera thing. I posted somewhere. No, it's fine. So my name's Alex Scofie. I go by the fanzine writer, and the book is called Pain, Love, and Politics.
Oh, great.
So yeah. Now if you want to go, you want to yeah.
Lo siento, lo siento.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
There was a wonderful fairy tale that I remember my mother teaching me, which was a fairy tale about two giants. And it was a metaphor. And it was about rage and about property and about war, basically. And the two giants could be two countries wanting resources or anything, any metaphor you want to, to take from the other something. And so the way the war was started was one giant threw a stone while the other giant was sleeping, and then sat back, and then the other giant threw a stone at the other giant, et cetera, and we had a conflagration. And that's, in a way, what we have today, which is so sad, because it is only a certain, very small number of people who have what we the people, should have as power. So I mean, I think that story is a beautiful piece of work.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, I mean, speaking of Ulster the Giant, the original is called Gollum, and it's a story by, well, it's a story that's come up a lot of times, but the book I'm talking about. What?
Isaac Bashevis Singer.
Oh, right.
He used it in a lot of his.
Yeah, so it's a big thing, like, I'm trying to think, I think it was, Wisniewski. The story that this is based on, it was just a particular one where this guy, because I'm sure the story's like, we have like the pastors, they tell the same story, it gets different iterations. But his Gollum was he actually made like a picture book. And one day that's my goal for this, is to actually make it into like a book, like a picture book. But it's interesting because at least for me, reading the story, it obviously was written way before this conflict, but to me, you see, like I have a lot of actual quotes from the book in here.
Great.
What was it? The holy purpose, but no justice. That thing, I believe, is like a quote from, in some way, from the book. But seeing how, like, this is what I say, where it's almost like the untreated pain of essentially the Holocaust being kind of enacted in this way, where you can't fight the people who did it to you, but you take it out on the next person, and that's what's kind of so, I don't know, disturbing about this particular conflict, is how that is to me the epitome. And it's like not to justify, but understand where it could possibly come from. This
how we project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Thank you. It was really.
Anyone else? Did you want to read something?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have written some poetry. I thought there was going to be so much happening today that.
Well, we can make it happen. Truly. I know it's a small audience, but we can make things happen. If there's something you want to discuss, that's what we're here for.
Sure.
I have something I'd like to read.
Yeah.
It's from Adrienne Rich, but it's not from her poetry. It's an essay she wrote. It's brief.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's from her book, Essential Essays, Culture, Politics, and the Art of Poetry. And basically what it is, it's her refusing a national medal for the arts in '97. So it's not too long.
It's okay.
Okay, so I just spoke with a young man from your office who informed me that I had been chosen to be one of 12 recipients of the National Medal for the Arts at a ceremony at the White House in the fall. I told him at once that I could not accept such an award from President Clinton or this White House, because the very meaning of art, as I understand it, is incompatible with the cynical politics of this administration. I want to clarify to you what I meant by my refusal. Anyone familiar with my work from the early 60s on knows that I believe in art's social presence, as breaker of official silences, as voice for those whose voices are disregarded, and as a human birthright. In my lifetime, I have seen the space for the arts opened by movements for social justice, the power of art to break despair. Over the past 2 decades, I have witnessed the increasingly brutal impact of racial and economic injustice in our country. There is no simple formula for the relationship of art to justice, but I do know that art, in my own case, the art of poetry, means nothing if it simply decorates the dinner table of power that holds it hostage. The radical disparities of wealth and power in America are widening at a devastating rate. A president cannot meaningfully honor certain token artists while the people at large are so dishonored. And then there's an addendum when she responded to a Los Angeles Times book review that wanted her to expand on her reasons for denying the award. So, whatever was newsworthy about my refusal was not about a single individual, not myself, not President Clinton, nor was it about a single political party. Both major parties have displayed a crude affinity for the interest of corporate power, while deserting the majority of the people, especially the most vulnerable. Like so many others, I've watched the dismantling of our public education, the steep rise in our incarceration rates, the demonization of our young black men, the accusations against our teenage mothers, the selling of health care, public and private, to the highest bidders, the export of subsistence-level jobs in the United States to even lower-wage countries, the use of below minimum wage prison labor to break strikes and raise profits, the scapegoating of immigrants, the denial of dignity, and even denial of minimal security for working and poor people. Art is our human birthright, our most powerful means of access to our own and another's experience and imaginative life. In continually rediscovering and recovering the humanity of human beings, art is crucial to the democratic vision. So I didn't quote the whole thing, but part of it.
That's a great statement.
That's a great thing.
Really.
Yeah.
Now, notice how she, back in 1997, was talking about the incarceration of this one and the criminalization of this one, and it almost sounds like today.
Yeah.
Were people marching in the streets then because of that reason, or are they just doing it now? What's changed? What's made this now? It's the same thing. He's criminalizing you if your skin's the wrong color. He's deporting you if you're, for whatever reason. The little folks are still the little folks. If she was protesting against that then, what exactly have we learned now? And what is the difference now? Why is it so much more terrible now than it obviously must have been then?
Because
I mean, we all came from there. Well, maybe
we
a
had a
couple of
black
us.
president for 8 years, and people's butts are still burnt about it. That really
true.
triggered a lot of stuff in this country.
I don't know. I think that right now, though, it's an exacerbation of everything. Like,
Yeah, because
that's gotten worse, but also the average living lives of everybody is like, it's almost like you could ignore politics back then because it wasn't almost universally screwing people, but now it's universally screwing everybody, which I don't know. I don't know if it's justified, but I think it's the reason that it's kind of not, you're not able to ignore it now.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
able to.
And an old statement, politics is personal. And it really is. And we are the personnel. And you know how the English, that's the English teacher in me. But anyway, yeah, the politics is personal. Politics are personal. And we, well, shut up, okay.
This isn't the time to shut up.
Oh, right, yeah. You are absolutely right.
No, keep going. Whatever you.
Well, no, I I just applaud all our knowledge and our awareness. And that's what we have to keep pushing out there, is our knowledge and our awareness. No judgment, yes. The judgment at Nuremberg. Anyone ever remember that movie? Well, when I was teaching at SUNY Newport, Muchos Años Pasados, I showed, by the way, I'm going to be 86 on Tuesday, so thank you very much.
There's the party.
This is my birthday.
Okay.
Anyway, but now I forgot, so forget it.
I'll jump off of what you said. I
Good.
think that if politics is personal, I think as long as we have broken people, then we'll have a broken system.
Mwah.
Yeah.
And we always will.
What, for 86, you said?
What?
You said 86? Holy, I thought like 70, like a young 70 or something. For you, 86,
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, 86. You know
No,
what
you look-
86
it's-
means?
What?
Oh.
86 is a bad number.
Not for you.
I'm gonna be 86. Now am I gonna live or die?
I mean,
No, and who cares?
No,
But-
you're gonna 86 him, that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
No.
The 86 is gonna 86
Let's just
to
hope
47.
with all our hearts and all our beings that more awareness comes to people and that we have to stop the hatred.
I feel like when we get caught up in like the knowledge and the awareness, and I think that I wouldn't totally agree with that, and that I forget what you said, but it was something about the personalness of it. You said something like,
Political.
she said something that was good. Yeah, but it's also that you said something about, I can't remember. Broken people, yeah, and that really what we need to do is, I think that things get better when in your everyday life, you're reaching out and loving people, whether or not their views are the ones you agree with, because that changes people more than any sort of knowledge or anything like that. So that's where I just want to adjust the point and kind of like
I
say,
love it, because there is a great Hebrew word called chesed, C-H-E-S-S-E-D, which means loving kindness. And that's what we have to increase with all our schmegego awareness and our knowledge and all that bullshit that we, profess to know anyway, whatever. God.
What we're facing is a war on compassion.
Say
It's
that again.
demonstrated every day. It's a war on compassion itself. It
Yes.
echoes Hannah Arendt's and Tim Snyder's descriptions of verminizing, as it were, the Tutsis by the Hutus for 9 months on the only radio stations allowed, describing them endlessly as vermin. It echoes the Germans calling
Yes.
Jews rats and vermin.
Yeah.
This is being done again. We're being demonized by people who are, in my opinion, advocating for a cynical theocracy.
Yeah.
I wonder, I sort of want to ask everyone here, does anyone here think the midterms are going to happen?
yeah.
They have to. They must. It's a
After the
must.
same as,
Have to is not the same.
No, but they must. It's a
I
must.
guess we're
We
all-
must make them happen.
And if the presidential elections,
I'm sorry, I know I'm
Can
coming
you
in.
take your mask off?
Can you hear
For a
me?
minute?
No,
It's
not
for
well.
health reasons, so
Oh.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I
I
have to
can't
keep
hear.
it off.
That's all right.
My husband has an autoimmune disease.
okay.
It seems to me that the people who are running this country are divided over maintaining the institutions that have gotten them up to this point. And there is a significant group that has power right now and is ripping all of that up. And people are clinging to the very things that are being ripped up, and it seems like they're waiting and hoping somebody's gonna fix this. I do think it's unprecedented, not only the change in this country, but what people are gonna have to do. I think it's gonna take a lot of creativity, a lot of compassion to really care about people and what's happening to them. I know more and more people who can't sleep at night, who are just sickened by things, that level of cruelty. It's astonishing to see this go on day after day after day, that people are starving and they go to get food and they're getting shot down in Gaza. it's hard to live like this. And I think we are gonna be called upon to do things we've never envisioned we'd have to do. And it's gonna take a lot of people with a lot of courage. I don't care what your politics are so much, what political affiliations, people are just gonna have to tackle this and stop it. Because it's not gonna just go our way because, maybe the Supreme Court will fix it or somebody will run in midterms. Will there be midterms? I don't know, they're changing the rules all the time. You can vote a fascist in, but it's not so easy to get them out if they change the rules.
And they're telling us they're doing it and they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll have a presidential election next time. I think he'll just hold on to it and he'll declare emergencies. And the thing is, it'll drive folks like us out in the street. We connect through a personal connection to our own story. We share it like this with others. What does it all do? Poetry and all of it? It manifests in us an awareness and readiness. I'm not sure, are we gonna man the barricades? I mean, what is it we need to prepare to do here? I think that when we go out in mass, because they've declared martial law in the streets of Manhattan, all we need is bad actor, stupid person, a spy, throws a Molotov cocktail, and then it's all gone. He'll take it all. So what kind of power do our words have, our stories have? The most vivid power they have historically is that they make of us a people. They make of us people with a familiar and similar stories.
May I comment?
Yeah, sure.
They is us, they is we.
Mhm.
There is none other but.
Is it time to realize that we outnumber them?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yo
need another
espero.
30 million votes.
Yo espero. Can I read?
That's all they
Yes,
have.
sure, you wanna go?
Go. No, you read.
I was hoping to read because the poem I wrote is actually, it's very on topic with
Good.
us as Jews, sort of. So I'll
Sit,
just,
stand, whatever you want to say.
I'll say everyone else's. So just a bit of preamble. I do like writing poetry, but I prefer having it with a group and being able to read it. And I haven't had that for a while, so I was glad to have this and come out. So thank everyone else for sharing your work. So I just wrote this when I saw the event was coming up. So it's short, but it sort of touches on the idea of kind of what you were saying, having to watch this suffering of your fellow man and like how it weighs down on you. So actually, I realized I didn't title it, so maybe you guys can help me with that when I'm done. I was never taught how, but I want to swim in every person I see. To forget the lie that life is mine, numb my nerves, and be engulfed by our sensations. People are always chipped away, parcels pecked inch by inch, our perfect skin shaved with skewers. If we ache, then where are my scars? Why do I have room for gratefulness as the skin slips off our bones? We have crumbled under man-made decay. I was ripped from you and thrust into personhood, and you were born into my expense. I'm sorry. There's an ocean between us. I still love you, but I was never taught how.
Oh, that's a tribute. That's beautiful.
Can you repeat the first line of the swimming?
Yeah.
That was good.
I was never taught how, but I want to swim in every person I see.
Oh, that was it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's great.
Oh. That was
Yeah,
I
'cause
think,
I-
I think it's something like either like water, ocean, or swimming, like
Swimming.
swimming in
Yeah.
something in that, like swimming in people. I don't know. Swimming, I don't know, but something in that.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, for me, I talked about earlier the idea of privilege. Like, for me, politics is a lot of, especially right now, just having to watch other people suffer and feeling like I can't do anything about it because I don't know how. And I never was taught how to sort of heal that barrier that's been made between us.
Respond. Communication.
Right.
Exactly what you're doing. Exposure.
What are you
You
talking
know,
about?
I remember wonderful MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, had this great ad, which I used to have my kids analyze when I was teaching. And it's a man in a raincoat. and you see the back of the raincoat, and at the top of the poster says, "Expose yourself to art." And it was just one of the best advertisements for MoMA.
Well, she speaks about swimming in others. I mean, we're 90% water. So,
When you're talking about swimming, do you mean, because now I'm actually, because it sounded almost like a personal life. When you're describing it, it sounds like you're talking about TV, political. Is it the same, different? You know what I'm saying?
When I was imagining, it was like a touch of being able to just connect with other people in that personal sense, but also like sort of the end of being separated by an ocean and being divided. That is more of like the inequalities that have been built up in the world. And the idea that I've been thrust into a higher position than other people, you know, and being separated from them in that way.
I'm wondering if you could almost make it two parts or two pieces, because that's interesting, because they're similar,
Yeah.
but they take a different theme almost.
I do think I could definitely make this longer. Like I said, I was writing this when I found out the event was happening, so I'll definitely expand on this
Yeah,
after.
and I think you can dive into like the swimming part,
Yeah.
because that, you can actually go further as swimming or breaststroke.
I
whatever
see
wanna
what you
do
did
to
there.
kind of like
Yeah.
go deeper into the metaphor. 'Cause
Yeah.
but you said that first time, I'm like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you can dive into that and actually just double down on it, that would be really cool, I think.
There was a great poet in the 80s, Toby, you know who it is, Swimming to Cambodia.
Spalding Gray.
Oh, Spalding Gray, it was
Yes,
a monologue.
thank you so much, yeah, that's who, anyway, and he did it when I was living in Woodstock, he did a performance of it, and it was magnificent. And so that's something you could read. Spalding Gray, he's dead, most people are dead. Everybody I know is dead.
Sooner or later, yeah.
sooner or later. Did you want to read something?
If I could.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just started writing poems as a way to kind of deal with what's going on. So it'll ring of that. Can't sleep, can't think, can't dream, can't drink, can't scream, can't blink. It's not me, it's you, and you got to go. An ache so deep, the climb too steep, knowing it's another day, you swallowing lives and no one gets in your way. It's not us, it's you, and you've got to go. Went looking for truth, none could be found. Piles of bodies crashing to the ground. You thrive on chaos and bask in the fray. Stir up more and size up the prey. It's not us, it's you, and you've got to go. Maggot-mouthed maniacs, nuked up, won't shut up. Overstuffed, power-hungry, life-crushing fiends can't get enough. It's not us, it's you, and you gotta go.
There you go. So it works as kind of a therapy, in other words.
It's turning out that
Yeah.
stuff just starts
Which is
running in my
fine.
head, yeah.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of therapy. Being that you read some Adrian Rich, I'll read some.
Okay,
This was, I don't know what year exactly she wrote this, but this is called What Kind of Times Are These?
maybe it's something, I don't know.
There's a place between two stands of trees where the grass grows uphill and the old revolutionary road breaks off into shadows. Near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I've walked there picking mushrooms at the edge of dread, but don't be fooled. This isn't a Russian poem. This is not somewhere else but here. Our country moving closer to its own truth and dread, its own ways of making people disappear. I won't tell you where the place is, the dark mesh of woods, meeting the unmarked strip of light, ghost-ridden ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf mold paradise. I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, make it disappear. And I won't tell you where it is, so why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like this, you have to listen at all. It's necessary to talk about trees. I believe she wrote this sometime during the Vietnam era, or something like that.
That's beautiful.
Anyone else want to join in?
Yeah, I did.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right.
All right,
All right, hey there, all right.
I'm gonna
This
bring
is
you with
a-
me wherever I go.
This is called,
Oh, you're standing up.
I got it. So long as I can keep moving, I don't give a shit. No. Of course I give a lot of shit. But ping pong match, okay? Life is a ping pong match of impulses. Do you ever play ping pong? Very bad at it. Very bad, yeah. But some people are really good. Anyway, walking on Block Island Beach, she tells herself, we are the most beautiful beasts of all. Lions, tigers, jaguars, nothing compares to us. Yes, she cries. Oh, how I'd like to have that piece of fur wrapped around my body. He cries. Hey, let's not be funny about this. This is a serious problem. She never misses an opportunity to play ping pong with a heckler. The audience hushes in anticipation. Yes, she stands, head tilts to the right, shoulders gently slump, beautiful belly folds. Tell me why this is such a problem. He stands, head erect. Erect. Yes, women. Women, excuse me. Yes, women. All you ever want is to be wrapped in furs. She watches the white ball come across the net. Would she, could she win this emotional ping pong match? She stands, feet firmly on the ground, taking deep breaths. A little applause is all I ever wanted. Just a little applause. Thank you.
Theatrical.
I couldn't hear it because my phone.
The ending.
The ending. What was the ending? Oh, okay, here. She watches the white ball, back to the ping pong match, come across the net. I mean, I do have some order in my head. It looks like I'm totally chaotic.
He thinks the lady does protest too much.
Oh, thank you.
Carry
I
on.
love you too. All right.
All right.
Anyway, would she, could she win this emotional ping pong match? She stands, feet firmly planted on the ground. This is all from, because I've been running for how many years? Please don't even ask. Thank you. Thank you.
Very theatrical.
For a while there, we
Well-
were talking about how this is going to be a test of everyone's compassion, okay?
Is it?
It will be, it will eventually be.
I think it really is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. My
Patience.
question is, how do we be compassionate to those that do not agree with us?
No?
Listen. Listen. Let them go on.
Okay?
They'll put eventually their foot will wind up in their mouth.
My foot will end up in their ass.
Well, you see,
That's not
I
compassion.
kind of.
I don't intend to have
these
compassion for
characters.
fascists or anybody.
But we have these characters as people that don't exist. I've talked to these people. They're not as crazy as we think. Most Trumpers hate what he's doing. Like, they don't like what he's doing.
Yeah,
if you
too
actually
bad,
talk to
then
them.
don't be a Trumper. You fucked up, you're done.
So the genocide, like, it's
No
it's such a
second chances.
terrible.
No.
Because
Why
I've argued people, and they end up like
Because
just
they
being
don't
like,
really change.
they end up like Palestinians voting for him. So it's
Yes.
Change is the only constant there is. Look at our bodies. Skin falls off all the fucking time. Look at this. I'm one big black and blue mark. That's all I am.
Yeah.
That is what I have become at almost 86 years old. A
Let's
big
call it
black
86.
and blue mark.
May I
I'm
quote the
serious.
poet
Go
Charles
ahead.
Olson, who said, "What does not change is the will to change." We're dealing with the force of
Good
nature.
point.
Let's be with nature and let's be natural with it. It's natural to speak. It's not as natural to listen, but let's listen. Okay, that's the hard part. The hard part is listening.
Like Michael just said, they've had 3 chances to change.
I think a
Fuck 'em.
compromise I can maybe reach with us here is,
Yeah.
while we should hope that people change, I don't think we can rely on that
No.
in this circumstance. Because I think too many people's lives and well-being is on the line to
All we
hope
can rely on
for
are those cankles to explode, maybe.
The current estimate is that there are 23 U.S. citizens born and raised here who are in that El Salvador prison. They cross a line with that.
Yep.
They
They
cross a
crossed
line.
the legal line.
And we can't
Immoral.
get those people back. That means that it's a rolling coup, I guess is what I'll say.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a perfect poem for this moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead, take it.
If it's okay, I'll bring a poem.
Yeah, yeah.
You can have
I did
reason.
the same thing.
Memory of a disaster after 9/11 for Muriel Rukeyser.
Mm.
So first I'm going to quote Muriel. Giant fears, massacres, the butchered that across the fields of the world lie screaming, and their screams are heard as silence. Oh love, knowing your love across a world of fear, I lie in a strange country, in pale yellow swamp green woods, and a night of music, while a poet lies in solitary somewhere in a concrete cell. Glare lit, I hear, without books, without pen and paper. Rukeyser, The Gates, 1976. Tonight I lie in a strange country, unready until today, but now a world away from my America. I must reinvent ways to speak. Pitiful attempts to respond, lying on pale sheets, lovelorn. My poems are the deformed child I want to hide. People separate poets and poetry from people and speech. Sometimes, all I can say is that writing is as strong as sex and just as complicated, just as difficult to share. All language after this will seem old-fashioned. All speaking will seem as poetry from an ash can. And yet, I have to signal. I want to act.
Ooh, nice.
All right, Vina, we were talking about how we're going to approach others. This is from Diane Prima from her book of Revolutionary Letters that she started writing in the 60s and kept writing up until the day she died, which I think was 2013 or sometime like that. And this is called Revolutionary Letter 104. Let's stop for a moment to remember what we are. A handful of tribes on a rather small rock, where water streams over arable earth into larger living waters we call an ocean. And all is not well with our rock. It might even come apart. Could be it will soon be another asteroid belt or meteors, just a bunch of meteors. While our rock is shaking and water pours from the sky and the winds have turned demonic, could be it's time. Maybe it's really time to rewrite that social contract, or at least change the rules that apply come catastrophe. Just a few suggestions. 1, All hands on deck means just that. It's really a small planet. 2, anyone bringing help anywhere is needed, bringing food, blankets, water, medicine is welcome, obviously. Don't ask where they're from, just say thank you. And we better learn to say thank you in hundreds and hundreds of languages. 3, all borders disappear in a catastrophe. They are stupid and irrelevant anyway. 4, there is no such thing as looting in a disaster. Think about it. After Katrina, Rita, all the storms, hurricanes, after the quakes in Chile, Haiti, Kobe, Managua, look back a bit. Can you call it looting when anyone breaks plate glass, comes out with food and water, medicine, camping supplies, whatever? Is that looting or just plain sanity? Keeping your family, keeping each other alive. 5, there is no place for police or army in tragedy, except as facilitators, distributors, unarmed. They should walk the streets bringing food, putting out fires, digging people out, rescuing those stranded on rooftops or bridges or fleeing the waters. They should be digging latrines, putting up shelters, helping families find each other. 6, every building still intact should open its doors to everyone. What else are guest rooms for? Whoever comes to your door should be taken in. I learned when I was 4, she's your guest. Should be given the best of what you've got, even if you thought she had been your enemy. Not special, it's a universal law, and why we're still around. 7, give up confusing your property with your life. Give up confusing your property with your life. Give up confusing your property with your life. This will save a hell of a lot of problems. Stuff comes and goes, and holding on to it is like holding back a river with your hands. Stop asking what others believe. Just look in their eyes and see we are the same. They are the same as your most beloved. Be it your child, your dog, your lover. No child is hungry who is not your grandchild. How long will you How long will you let her wait? No child is orphaned who is not your own. And what will it take to make us remember our own? Diane DePrima.
I want to see what edition that is.
It's like
I think
Can you
jazz.
read?
She's related to
Oh,
Louis
yeah, yeah.
DePrima.
Hello?
Me?
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
didn't
bring
bring
it.
Oh, you, oh, okay.
I thought that was really great. There was, I think a catastrophe can really open the door for kindness and human compassion. You know, almost like when the Twin Towers came down, people were like just open and like helpful, you know. And there's nothing more like cold than like a habit, or nothing more brutal than business as usual.
Ah,
You should write those down.
yes.
Yeah, that's a good poem right there.
That's
Did you want to read anything?
profound.
No, I didn't
Just
bring
hang
anything.
it. Okay.
You brought yourself, thank God.
What's
Just
the title
spoke
of the
poem.
Graham
It
Greene
did.
poem?
Can you see it?
The title of it.
Oh, Revolutionary Letter 104?
104, you said.
Yeah.
I hope she wrote the other 103.
Yes, she
Should I see
did.
that next?
Diane DePrima, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
She was one of the beats with a vagina, so you don't hear a whole lot about her.
Right, exactly.
Until she's dead.
What are the beats with a vagina?
It happened.
One of the
I haven't
few.
thought about that.
I think it was
You folks want another poem? I mean, I don't want to step in front of anyone else. I came late to the party. But I want to say, my koan on that one is from Charles Olson again. Art is actual, and only the artist is on time.
I thought it was Leo Cohen. No,
Olson.
I couldn't resist it.
And they call him, because he did not have a vagina, but rather a penis, they called him the father of postmodern poetry.
Well, see, yeah.
But Muriel was there first.
It's required, yes, she was.
All right, so in memoriam Beslan, April 2006. That's a perspective on things. Yeah. In dust, will you try to remember water? In drought, can you taste the imagined fountain long enough to love wantonly? soon enough to prevent fear, be dangerous enough to dare to trust a hopeful future. Words and women traded, souls for gold, piles of children bombed for God, bombed for blood, bombed for one more country, one more righteous fantasy. Xenophobic women strapped with explosive despair. In heaven, is heaven so much better than this brown earth dappled with red, this crust of pain, nourishing dreams, each time a baby's birth allows another hope? Religion fragmented, brutal petals, fiercely fragrant, the aroma of thorns, this blood garland. Sweetness too intense to take inside. Stop these bombs of kindness. We never wanted this hardened love. Why not love thoughtlessly, carelessly, facelessly, in random acts? Wanting too much, too fast, hope dies, anonymous, simply for the sake of the rush to burn. Be not so afraid to touch your bitter need. You would give yourself and me your heaven. I want only paradise of this earth and one more child back from your grave.
Wow.
So who wrote that?
Me?
Oh.
Was I supposed to read someone else's? I brought
No,
a
no,
book.
no, no.
I got a whole book of
Wasn't sure.
Walt to bring. Okay, Walt brings some joy back to the picture.
No, you're doing fine.
So I'll finish with something a little more joyful if I get another chance.
Okay. Did you want to read something?
Oh, me?
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
have it right.
actually.
Oh,
Well, I'm taking notes about poems, so I'm gonna go home and read, and write and read. Speaking of Walt, I have one about Walt, or by Walt.
Walt Whitman.
Yes,
Whitman, yes.
the anguished cry to Walt. It's called I Hear America. I cannot hear it now, Walt. Was it quieter then beside the harbor? Even the ships wailing in the sound went on the wind, no steam, no horn blast to signal their passing. Walt, I hear America whining when the cable's out, when the Oreos are gone, when KFC is closed. I hear America snarling at immigrants who don't know the language, as if the Martucci's, the Kozlowskis, the Diefenbachs had it down to a science the moment they stepped off the boat. Walt, America has forgotten how to carry a tune. It doesn't know the words. America has left the building. Walt, maybe America sang back in the day when banjos roamed the earth, when the only music heard was when Pa pulled out the fiddle, or it was time for Tuesday afternoon piano lessons, or when Irving Berlin sat down to pound out the latest Follies hit. America can't see the prompter from here, would rather go home and TiVo American Idol freaks and Simon Cowell's No Major Bows. Walt, what did America sound like with her head thrown back and his throat opened wide, the bells of her notes ringing like a new country, chorus of waters on this new discovered stage? And he hasn't answered me yet, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe your poems have an answer from Walt.
Well, maybe we'll get Walt to, yeah. I'll
I
get
know.
him out of the
There might
bag
be
soon.
another.
I just,
I can look for one.
Yeah, go for it.
Hold up.
how many people in the room even remember who Major Bowes was? I gotta congratulate.
I do.
Oh, well, yeah, and then the Ziegfeld Follies.
86-year-old, yeah, I'm 73.
The
so.
86,
I'm
the
the oldest person.
Ziegfeld
here.
Follies reference too, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Um,
Am I the oldest person here?
metaphysically.
86?
I might have a year or two.
Oh, good. This one, will. Yeah.
No? Okay, I'll
Don't
look
forget, we've got a few old souls in the room.
That's what it
But what about the body?
is.
Kills the body, but not the soul.
Enough, basta, basta. We'll see it though.
This one, I don't know, it's a political edge. It's a little uplifting, because I feel like it's a bit shorter too. It's called To Dance with Chaos. Let me just stand next to me. I hate confusion. I am a slave to order. But goddamn, do I love chaos. With flour in her hair, baby drool over her shoulder, and love in her loins, I am a slave to order. But goddamn, do I love chaos. And when I'm hanging out with order, chaos gets real jealous. She pushes order aside and rubs up real close to me until there is nothing in my mind but all-encompassing chaos. Goddamn, do I love chaos. Especially when she doesn't love me back.
Ain't that the truth?
One of the things that interests me the most, and we got into it briefly, is that small group of people, even though they won the last election, were people that we knew. We can't blame the other generation anymore. You know how we used to be able to blame our parents? This is our fuck up. Okay? And what happened, maybe not the fuck up of the people in this room, but what happened? What the, you know?
Told you what happened.
This is just a little thing. This is just a little bit of a wandering. It's one of mine. It's called One of Them.
Oh, good.
A certain suburban gonad twister and his scorpion maid by the house next door. And there's no playing field long enough. No playing field wide enough to escape his agitation. The mechanical slur of his fictional lawn. His rude machines that cut the land his imperial way. He's one of those gearheads who RPM and rev you awake every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Hoards lawn jockeys and talks to his tools. Yeah, he's one of them who I wouldn't have dreamed to call one of them that weekend at Woodstock, Newport, Monterey.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, these are our constituents. We can't blame the other generation anymore. Yeah, sure, we can say, oh, some of the younger guys voted for it. No, we outnumber them. We outnumbered them then, and we outnumber them now. So...
She's dying to jump in over here.
No,
She's like gasping for it.
Come on, do it.
no, it's up to Monterey, California. The trees off of the Pacific Ocean, twisting and turning. You know, I drove three times solo cross country, and I want to do it a fourth time. So that's,
I'm ready to go again.
anyway, but they'll think I'm crazy, they won't let me, anyway. I could go on for a long time. Anybody else have something to read? I could
Anybody
read
else
for
want
a
to
long
read
time.
something, or want to say something?
Anybody?
Anyone?
I brought the one.
Let's not get you. Did you want to read something?
Over here.
A new person?
Yeah.
Michael, go ahead.
What changed is pretty much everything. When you consider, you had that letter from '97, I think it was?
Yeah.
Well, since '97, we have instantaneous news, literally instantaneous news. We have a 24-hour bullshit cycle because they can't fill the space up with real news. So then you get the opinion channels. You get our generation who brought us through, well, I'm kind of at the tail end of that generation. Brought us through the social changes of the 60s. We got comfortable, and now we have conservatives who are deathly afraid, in my opinion, of change because they're afraid the minorities are going to treat them the way they treated the minorities. And we have people on the other side who are extremely comfortable and who are afraid to listen to the younger generation and progressive ideas. So literally everything has freaking changed. And we, us, for the most part in this room, need to be willing to turn it over to the new people because it's their future. It's their world coming up. It's not ours anymore.
No, I'm with you on that a little
We
bit.
gotta turn it over and we gotta listen to them. And just because their ideas ain't the status quo doesn't mean they're wrong. Our ideas weren't the status quo.
Right.
That's a bipartisan problem.
Wisdom comes from old
It's not
age
a-
and also from being an infant.
Yeah. It's all in the
Being
middle
what?
there.
Being what?
Being an
And
infant.
Oh,
being
okay.
an infant,
Well,
you know, I
you know,
mean,
the zen of it is, it's called beginner's mind.
yes,
and-
by Suzuki, yeah.
What we'll say, well, we didn't invent that phrase either, but,
No,
yeah,
we
he
didn't.
definitely perfected a book on it, but,
Yes.
I think that's one of the antidotes, I guess, is to believe in beginner's mind, and anyone can have it, 15 or 55, or thank God, 70 or 80.
86.
Yeah.
Get
She's
the
very
badge.
adamant
There
about
you
it.
go.
I'm
the
adamant
badge.
about 86.
Anybody else want to read
No, we're
it?
done.
I got more.
No, we're done.
I got-
Keep
I
holding
got
on to
plenty.
it.
Oh,
You were close, you were
Recipe
close.
for
I was
better
close,
knowledge.
but no cigar.
I can
Okay.
read that.
Oh, good. Who's next?
No, it's just
Yeah,
a
you want to read my
recipe.
joke?
I went to the farmer's market before I came here.
So you didn't carry your poems?
No,
I didn't bring any.
You know,
bringing.
I could sing you a song, Tom Lehrer wrote it, and it's called Who's Next? Look it up in your funkin' wagon, because there we go, that ages us a little bit. I got a poem about, that ends up with the word chaos, but it's back in the car. I'll run and get it for later, but for right now. You want more angry poems or something else?
Let's, maybe something that we can start bringing.
Yeah, this might start some conversation.
Oh, I'll stop going.
And it's about change, perhaps. Awakening. Still awake, this adrenaline rush, too much, too fast. Things to see, to feel, to make, too beautiful. When it comes that fast, it comes not at all. Bound, struggling, Promethean, burning, flesh consumed by thought on the surface. But deeper, concentric, a flooding, raging hormone river bursts the chest, wraps round the throat, desire, so tightly wound there is no making. Catatonia of the intention, the mind, the senses, the head stops. Inside, panther-like, prowling. In the center, the eye of the storm, a listening. Then, a voice. Borrow the will of the art to be born. Borrow the will of the birth to create. Will enough there is, too much, too fast, until you let go of the center and rejoin the swirl. Allow the energy to move through you, a force that will not be denied. The force of the will to create creates you, new, awake.
Excellent.
Let's talk about what
Can I-
awakens us, if that's the question.
Can I just read
right,
a
Mike?
little thing?
Yeah,
This
go.
is it's from a 1995 journal. There is no duty we so underrate as the duty of being happy. Robert Louis Stevenson.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Who also wrote My Shadow, a poem for children. How my shadow follows me on the river. My shadow is the shadow of should. Stevenson was probably haunted by the same shadow, the duty to be happy.
And,
I mean,
and besides that, don't should on yourself.
exactly, don't you?
And Grandma said, don't shit where you eat.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Let's throw out a hypothetical. When I was first advertising this online,
Yeah.
I had a
Say
few.
that again.
When I first started to advertise these programs online, because like I said, this is the third one I've done. There were a few people that were like, "Oh, you effing communist," and this, that, and the other thing.
What are their names?
I'll keep the names.
Where do they live?
Let them take names.
All right.
I'm
What
fine with that.
how would we have handled it? And this is all hypothetical. And
When someone came in.
if, yeah, exactly. If those 3 or 4 people were here today.
Notice they never bothered.
Oh, no, I get that part. Absolutely, I get that.
Yeah.
What did you say, Cheryl?
Notice they never bothered.
To do what? I'm
To
not
show
sure.
up.
Who's they?
Oh, They don't.
Anybody that
people-
saw an ad for, first of all, they saw poetry and they said, oh, fuck that. Because,
That's the
trust me.
first thing.
Yeah,
Well, that's
number
because they
one.
don't-
That was the
Yeah.
first red flag.
So why do you think they say fuck
Because
poetry?
they're keyboard warriors.
Because people are.
They're keyboard
They
warriors.
won't put their flesh where their
Where their
fantasies
fingers
are.
are.
I thought I had good hearing up until today.
But
I swear to
say
God.
3 or 4 of those people were sitting right there.
Okay,
But
Okay.
good.
How would we have handled that if we had gotten into some kind of, not necessarily altercation, but just an argument?
We're assuming like maybe we were discussing and then they sort of reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Or-
Listen,
Ah.
well, wait,
What
it's
is
a
that?
great
Wait, wait, wait.
exercise. It's an
There's
all
no
old
actual person that
exercise.
does that. That's like-
Talk
I'm
to
just
the
saying, that's when I
silent
say
stage.
caricatures, that's the caricature.
Exactly.
But those aren't real people.
Yeah.
My grandpa is a real person who voted for Trump, and he's a loving, kind man.
Right.
And
Amongst his own people.
no, amongst me.
Yeah.
When I came out as bi, he, even though he's a Catholic,
Yeah.
probably the most likely homophobic person you'd ever meet, he went, okay, fuck it. Isn't that normal nowadays?
You bring a black guy to Thanksgiving, what would
And
happen?
my ex was black, and
Ah,
he
there you
loved
go.
her. He still asks about her.
I hate when that
They
happens.
don't. They're not. They're assholes online, and they're caricatures in our head. But these people are just fucking people.
There are
They're
certain
not. There are people who run politics who are assholes, and there's no doubt about it. But the vast majority of people you meet when you go out are not these caricatures of people. You know, they're an asshole,
So,
post something like that, and then
Let's go with that, wait,
light
let's
it
go
up
with
in your
that, because I
basement.
came here because the meeting said, can poetry be protest? Can poetry make a difference with
Mhm.
its protest? That's the question I really came for. I hope that's what we're here for. I've been writing poetry for more than 40 years. I was writing other things before that, but I call what I'm doing since 40 years ago real poems. And one of them that I read was about that old. So look, what have we done? What can we do? Let's look at the forward action. What can we do with poems that will make a difference? I say the beauty of poetry is the economy of language. Listen to the impact we have when we abbreviate what we have to say and put the powerful stuff first.
So every day we should have a poetry reading.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
we should
yeah.
start the day with a piece of poetry.
Right, but we gotta
In the
plant it,
news.
we gotta plant it in the ears of those we want to
Yeah,
talk
we'll
to.
put it on WAMC, the idea,
Good luck with
and
that.
let
Yeah.
them have poetry. I mean, I contributed, by
Well,
the way, I contributed Vox Pop. That was my contribution, by the way.
Well, it's interesting that you mention that, because there's an article there that folks are welcome to take. It's by Jill Lepore, and it...
Oh, I read, her book, I stole it from the library.
From this library?
I refused it. I'm refusing it, I'm serious.
the library.
From the Woodstock Library. Oh, my God.
Oy, oy, oy.
No,
But I was a
they're all
trustee of the
connected.
Woodstock Library.
They're all
so-
connected.
I've been
I swear to
harboring-
God, it's sitting on my,
You can return it.
I know I can, but I don't want to.
Now,
Well,
there's an
anyway.
active resolution. Why don't we start Thief of Poetry sessions? Why don't we start, you know, a
We
group
did.
that goes out there and steals poems and puts them in the public face? Put it in their face. I
What-
got a
where
few
would
very
that be?
angry
Where would that
poems.
be?
Comedy
Where would that be?
nights,
Well,
open mics.
Where would that be?
comedy
Every
night would
place.
work.
I mean, there's so
Like,
many.
sometimes we
excuse
try
me,
and change
open mics
others.
everywhere.
Where's there
The
one
colony.
open mic in Kingston?
Like,
And,
sometimes we try and change.
where's there an open mic in Kingston? Come on, research.
There's a
Who has
few.
the
Don't lose that
phone?
phone.
You said there were so many. There are
Sometimes I
not.
feel like the problem is we try and change others that are like out of our sphere of us, and that the best thing we can do is like when you improve yourself, you improve your ability to tolerate opening your circle and being with those other people. So to me, the work of just improving yourself, the work that is, let me the work that is improving yourself, like, I don't know, but like, that's what the book is, right? It's like pain, love, and politics. You have to, like, it's about me fixing the pain inside of me, being able to give love to others, and then the politics comes after that. So that's why I feel like sometimes we get caught up in, like, how do we fix politics by putting a poem in the face of someone who's never going to change, or not going to change as far as we want them to. But I would rather say, why don't we just fix ourselves and create our own network and do something we enjoy, and then someone who's a little on the fringe, not totally out there, sees the thing, sees whatever, and they see a poem about, oh yeah, I'm human too, oh, I have this feeling too, and they'll come in on their own. And it doesn't, we get a little caught, we're trying to just really go too far out of our reach and just stick with what we can do right here rather than go too far away. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's the only I would say. I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying that's what I'm
There's
saying.
fine
I
communication.
think you have to come from all different directions. I'm a color writer. I draw, and we're talking about these issues, art in the face of what we're going through. Why are we making art? Should we make art? What do we do with it? And it's the same conversation poets are having, you know, and there's not just one way to do it. It's every single way. Like, I write these postcards, get out the vote or whatever. So I decorate it. I decorate with colors. I do that. I make my pen, you know, I like do whatever I can. It may seem, oh, it's just a small thing, but every little drop helps. And it maybe doesn't help the whole picture, some of it does, but also keeps us vital and strong to keep fighting, because if we don't take care of this, we can just lay down, you know.
We're all
We're gonna lay down.
I had a point, but first I want to clarify. I don't really see how you disagree.
I agree.
Because I think he's going from, this is the way we do it.
A
I
linear.
think we do it from all different directions.
Yeah.
however-
I don't think it
I
can be
don't
linear
know.
either. You can work on yourself and work on the political at the same time, and we don't have time to go in a straight line.
Right.
at
I
this
think I was
point.
more just noting that I felt like the conversation was getting a little too, like, how can we push it really far outside? And I was just saying, pull it back a little bit to what do we do just right here, which includes anything you would say. I'm just saying, like, I could feel the conversation go a little far, and that's all I was saying, was kind of keep it right here, which is big, not like right here, but just what you said, what you do, like, just, yeah.
I
That's
wanted,
all.
my point wanted to go back to your idea that the average person is not the caricature or like the politician that we think of, but I think the problem is that, you know, going back to the idea that if politics is personal, then broken people means broken politics. I think that because, you know, the economic situation, a lot of people are struggling now, and I think that a lot of, you know, politicians or people in power are using that to forward their like hateful agenda. So I think our idea should be both to stop that like sort of train, and also trying to, even if just by leading by example or showing other people how to, you know, heal that broken part of themselves, like you were saying. So I think it's a bit of both. Of like, I do think there's an outside influence that is making people like enhancing almost the worst parts of them. Nowadays.
That's true.
I'm not writing poetry, but I'm writing prose right now, and some people have asked, like, what is happening? And I think we're facing an environmental catastrophe, and we're also entering into a new aeon, and I think a lot of the old structures are breaking down. But what is primarily happening is we are, the fundamental act that we do as a country or as a culture is the mining and refining of petroleum for energy. And we live in a petroleum-based economy. We have a petroleum-based economy, and I would say that when there becomes some commodity or something that everyone needs, it follows like day follows night, that a certain people will try to control that commodity. And that's what we're having now. And all the aspects, I say there were all aspects of living in a petroleum-based economy, from like, the synthetic materials in the rug to my boots to all these things are aspects of having a petroleum based economy, and there will be no change in the world. This has gone to, like, even Aborigines, or not, I would say Kalahari Bushmen to Amazonian hunters and gatherers are aware of the reach of what I call the petroleum butterfly, or all the butterfly effects that have to do with the mining and refining of petroleum for energy. And even those in the Amazon and in the Kalahari Bush are aware of us and the effects, because there's been spills. And there will be no change in the world entering into the new aeon, Aquarian aeon, until, and this is basically impossible right now, but knowing full well the value of that commodity, we call a commodity, the oil, petroleum in the ground, to cap an oil well and be able to protect it from knowing full well the value to all the people that use it, that commodity, the world won't change, because we are living in this world that is all the myriad aspects of that fundamental act, that mining and refining of petroleum.
True enough. True enough.
Can I respond to you?
Yeah.
I love the idea. And the idea of commodity, when I was teaching at SUNY, one of the questions, I would write on the board a thing that I thought of, and they'd had to write for 10 minutes in their journals to respond to it. And one of the things I put on the blackboard was, think of yourself as a commodity. And I had them write for 10 minutes.
Well, we're all in the marketplace, right?
Exactly,
We're all,
yeah, so the
like, part
metaphor,
of the
you know,
market
because
as
I
well,
was
you know?
teaching I had to think metaphorically, basically was my meta, whatever I was doing. Anyways, but it's really interesting because you are right on, and we are developing all kinds of other energies, which is fantastic. Now, for some people, it's not fantastic, because who the hell wants to see roofs that are so beautiful covered with whatever they're called? You know, I mean, it's just taste. It's a matter of taste. It's a matter of our own personal preferences, in a way. I see what you're saying, but I don't see oil as an evil. You know, so I think we could use a lot less of it, and we are, because we're developing all kinds of other ways of creating energy.
I agree. No, I think it's an extraordinary time to be alive, and but I do say my next book, my second book's going to be Death by Innovation.
Oh, good.
It seems like, you know, whether we find some resource, whether it's planting or mining, you know, it changes things, and we lose a lot in the gain as well, you know.
Yeah.
We gain something, but we kind of miss where we were before, you know.
You know what I'm thinking of, the word conservative. And we've given it a bad rap, those of us who are willing to subscribe to leftist, liberalist, whatever, the commie side or whatever we want to be called. But we've given a bad rap to conservatism. And we need to rethink, like everything else, we need to rethink. If we are going to get other people to listen to us, we need to listen to them. And I'd say that there's a lot of good to be gotten from listening to the conservative forces. What were they after? What was their goal? What was the intention? Because no matter what we do when we carry out our intentions, and that can be really bad, the intention might be very good, and we might be able to rescue the baby and throw out the bathwater. I'm wondering if things like conserving our power and reserving opinion, or reserving, you know, the angst that is growing up around all of these topics just long enough to listen to each other and hear the best of the sides. It's a seesaw. It's the Tao Te Ching, the absolutely eternal quest for balance that we're looking for here. And if we vilify anyone, the flip side is we vilify ourselves in their eyes, perhaps. So I'm bringing us back to the question I came here for, which is how can poetry, because my job is poems. It took me a lifetime to figure that out, and now I realize it. So if my job is poems, how can I put them where they make a difference, and how can we use poetry as the arm of our
We're doing it right now.
effort, our energy?
I think she
Yeah.
wants to shift it to a more practical, like,
You want
Yeah.
step-by-step
I'd like to
point
How
of
can,
view.
yeah, well,
Poetry and
More
practicality
poetry.
have never been
Yeah, but as
close
artists,
bedfellows.
as artists, we can't afford to allow that particular cast on what could otherwise be valuable, even.
I think, I'm trying to, so, but you started with the question, what is conservatism in that regard? And I think just follow me, I think, to me, there's a tension in our lives between the old stuff. So I'll just start with masculinity because it kind of just, it's easier to stay with specific. Which is fair, there was a very specific way of masculinity that wasn't always good, and we wanted to get rid of it, but we didn't replace it with anything. And I'm trying to think, someone said is load-bearing ideas. So
Good.
we had this thing called masculinity that was a lot of things, but something else. We took it out, we didn't replace it with anything. And so what you have now is a bunch of men who don't really know what the fuck they're doing. And I think that for me, what I was with poetry is it's to kind of navigate the idea of like, okay, so what is masculinity? What are we working with here? And when you get that idea, you can kind of help others understand. That's why I say when we do this work for ourselves, for our discovery, for whatever, and I don't know always how, because there's other ideas that are less abstract. But I think even having poetry circles and rebuilding, like COVID destroyed all social circles, even something like this where you have people talking. Even last night, I was talking at the bar, and suddenly kind of got in politics and talked a little bit about it. But that free space to do that, that's the stuff that's the positive that you can not have to. There's also consciously trying to do stuff. There's also sometimes the unconscious, just doing the stuff you love, building community, and doing it right in the sense of like productive, creating. And I think in that space is where I look to kind of affect change.
Could
with
you
my
repeat
work.
the phrase that you started out with? Because I thought of it, but it took me too long to get a paper and pen. I sent my paper and pen around to get
Load-bearing
out.
idea.
The load-bearing. It's not mine. That was I think
Load-bearing.
Eric Weinstein said that.
Said load-bearing ideas?
The load-bearing idea. I don't know if he said load-bearing ideology
It's
or
a meta-
load-bearing,
it's a
but it was that
beautiful
kind of
metaphor.
load-bearing concept. That was, but that's his. I didn't
I
make that
like
one up.
ideas. It's a
We don't know him. We don't know him.
Yeah, he's not.
I don't want to be quoted and then he go, ah, you said it first. Technically, he said it first, but.
now there's where you have to have courage.
Remember my poem? It said, "Be not afraid."
Hey,
of
let's
your
let
Because I don't want to plagiarize. I don't want to take credit where I.
As someone
Go
who's kind
for
of
it.
outside this poetry circle at the moment, you're all very romantic.
Yeah.
You have this vision
We're
that you can
poets.
change things in the face of the guns that are pointing at us.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Thank you, Tim.
just that occurs to me that I think we need more than words.
Yes.
I'll
My
leave it at that.
generation
We can
put
discuss that as
flowers
we go.
into the muzzles of those guns, and it wasn't completely stupid. It was an iconography that I will never forget. It was Kent State, they were putting flowers in the guns, they ended up getting shot. But what happened was a revolution was spawned by the imagery itself. What do we deal in? We're poets, we deal in imagery. We deal not just in metaphor, but outright statements. We deal in imagery. I think some of the best poems are not so wickedly metaphorical that we can't dig in there for an hour. I think sometimes, like, smash their faces in dead dreams. That's one of my, I'm quoting myself, but I think that's an image.
Well, I date myself
I'd
because
like
nobody
to-
else will date me.
I just wanted
And
to,
there's a place for comedy, always.
I just wanted to circle back earlier.
Yes.
It's because you wanted like more practical things. I just had three
Oh.
quick ideas. is like one was the sort of personal is political. So if any poetry writing helps you maintain the sort of headspace we were trying to cultivate earlier, I think that's one. And then two, we're saying poetry as protest. I think maybe bring it to protests. I mean, trying to speak it out, trying to share it with
It's
other
been
people
done,
there.
but we can do it again.
And then I think what you were doing just now, you reflected on the imagery of like the flower and the gun. I think I'm maybe reframing, like inhabiting your poetry in your actions, or like, if that makes sense.
Beautifully said, that's a poem.
Acting is the art of self-revelation.
So,
I'd like to.
You learn about yourself if you follow your act.
I'd like to offer a quick thought experiment that I read about many years ago that changed my thinking. It's consistent with, I think, your impulses there, Toby. If Gandhi in India had been operational, and he was, from the mid and late 40s on, and if Hitler had just made one mistake less, if he'd gone south in Project Barbarossa and successfully gotten into Pakistan and India, it's conceivable that there would have been an SS colonel standing in a street while 500,000 Indians, and perhaps a lot of Pakistanis at that time, walked toward him in nonviolence. I would estimate it would take that SS colonel about 30 seconds to blow his brains out.
better blow his own than someone else's.
Well, and then they'd start to shoot everybody else. I mean, what we are dealing with are people who are willing to set aside our dignity, our humanity in their minds. And they're doing it, they've done it. They've done it. I lived in Montana once, and you always knew when the militia guys were coming and going in and out of gas stations. The posse comitatus type who lived just across the border from Missoula in northern Idaho. These people are not good people. I think you're right about what you said, that so many people on the right are just kind of cosplaying a lot of it. But there are hundreds of thousands of, mostly men, but not all, who are waiting for the chance to pick up the gun. And I think they will. They already have.
So the question
That
is,
kid who
what
got
is
off.
the antidote to the gun, to the violence? Is
More guns.
poetry, does it have the potential? I say yes, but.
What about you talked about before, about listening? So really listening. Me personally,
Yeah.
I feel that my ability to listen to others and really hear where they're coming from began to improve when I started listening to my own heart, not my clueless ego.
Okay.
But began to listen to that deeper aspect of myself. When that really started happening, then all of a sudden I wasn't as defensive, and I could begin to hear people who had very divergent viewpoints, and yet still had to experience some kind of empathy or so with them.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to people who don't speak from their hearts, but they're regurgitating what they've been fed in mass media.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a discussion, and that's hard to get past.
Yeah.
That's, you know, we can talk to them all they want, but they have their generalities and their cliches and their bullshit they've been fed, and they just, and they're not thinking. There's no discussion with them. So I'd like to hear I already know what they're gonna say most of the time, certain population. There are others, like he mentioned his grandfather. Yeah, we all have relatives that, you know, are fine one-to-one or within the family or the community, but my sister's perfectly happy saying some of my best friends are black. But, you know, she's still probably okay with deportation. She swears every Mexican on Long Island is in a gang. So it's, you have to know who you're talking to, too. Somebody who's worthy of
There has to be some
exchange.
discernment.
Yeah, somebody that's on the same page as you, that these are my concerns. Conservatives want everything to be the same. They're afraid of evolving, not change, but evolving. Masculinity was never going to be replaced with anything because nobody knows what the fuck it means beyond a certain genetic code, chromosomal setup. We weren't looking to replace the new age. It's for everybody to be what they're going to be. And reproduction's not going to change. That's the only constant. for
You
me.
gotta- You gotta understand too, a lot of what you just said is a reaction to feminism. That men are unable in parts of this country to get enough alternative voices.
That's true too.
About who women are, what they can expect,
Yeah.
not expect from women.
How about their people? That's what frustrates me. Everybody's people. You have to make babies a certain way, but besides that,
It's
you
all-
know, it's a
It's just a
free-for-all.
minor plumbing difference.
That's all,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
Whoever put the man in human took us in the wrong direction.
This
I
is
think,
true.
Because they ignored the woman.
Well, woman has made.
Woman
man.
has been in it too. Well, that's the point. I guess we, you know, for generations, we've been all about inventing new pronouns too, and new words, and that's maybe our job as poets also, if I can bring us back to that. I'm being as consistent as I've ever been, Mike. You hear that, Greg? It's like I'm back to that source. It's like as poets, we can not just use language inventively. We can invent words, invent language in a new way, and it's our job. It's my job to the rest of my days, and I don't have to. If I stop to worry about who's going to listen or how much of an impact it's going to be, I know personally that has stopped me for years, for many years. And God bless, there are a couple of people sitting here I won't embarrass, but they gave me the goods. They said, it is good, use it, use it, share it. So
Yeah.
it gave me the oomph, and it's a blessing to have that opening. But I also, I'm standing between those polarities. Again, it's a Zen. I need to learn how to speak. As a female, that was my job my whole life, to learn how. But I have to listen too. And I've been listening, and I've been learning that lesson for years too. It'll take me the rest of my days too. But if I'm standing in that polarity, standing in that question, it's got to be a question. Too many answers, right? Too many answers.
Yeah.
We got to be in the questions. Yes?
Yeah, question.
You had something to say, right?
I'm going to try to connect it with what your point is, but maybe it's not so smooth. I think it was.
It's hard to hear with the mask though.
Can you hear? I'm sorry.
I have trouble with the masks.
People know David Brooks in the New York Times. So I watch him on PBS, and I do read his columns, and I'm kind of interested because he's a conservative person, but he does not like Trump, and he wrote one piece that really was about like all these sectors of society need to come out and oppose this, and I was like, wow, go David Brooks. But his most recent column, he talks about the difference between the conservatism that we're used to dealing with, the Republican Party mainly, and he says there's been this development among younger people of nihilism, and it's just hatred of everything and everybody, and they don't believe anybody, and they don't believe in anything, and the goal is just destroy, destroy, destroy. We don't know what's going to come after that. We don't really care what's going to come after that. You just have to destroy what is, because it's all screwed up. And one of the problems with that is people who take on that view will also do anything and are capable of anything, because they are just trying to destroy and they don't believe in anything. So I was thinking about, you have poetry that can be in any kind of art form explicitly protest, and it can be very, very effective. But I think there also needs to be a poetry and a culture that's about our humanity. That's about, who we are and our aspirations and abstractions. It's not just political. It's just, what does it mean to be alive? And that, spreading that among people, it's going to impact how we fight and what we fight for. That you have this culture. I know growing up, the culture was huge. There wasn't all protest songs. There were a lot of different forms of culture that made you feel a part of something bigger than yourself, and you wanted to contribute to it. And
I still feel that when we show up for these demonstrations, a part of something. It may not be as cohesive as let's stop the Vietnam War or, things like that, but getting together like that is still very effective and powerful. And it does make the news, at least the shad wrapper, I've seen it there. Oh, there's no better name for it.
Very interesting, I have never heard of it, we'll talk.
Oh, the shad wrapper? Oh, the Daily Freeman.
Oh.
It's been called that for many, many years.
Many, many, many.
But my point was, it doesn't have to be that poetry is only making an impact if it's explicitly protest. That was kind of.
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
It can't just be, it's fine if it's about protest, but sometimes we kind of limit art to serving a movement rather than.
We've all experienced that here today. We've heard all kinds of poetry, and it's the coming together of empathetic spirits, what Thomas Merton described as our trembling selves. You know, there's something to be gained from this, because we can then, at a moment of true terrible crisis, such as I think are coming, we're able to extend ourselves, our spirit outwards. We're able to understand that we're not alone, even if at that moment we're standing in our front door, doorway. It matters then that we understand that if we decide to take a drastic step, put ourselves in harm's way for principle, that there will be others who might be doing it as well. We won't show up alone.
I think what I took from both of those is like, the protest can be just writing poetry that upholds values, like that things are worth fighting for, that other people are worth caring about, and that can be in a political climate that seeks to stoke hate and division. Trying to output that into the world through poetry, I think, can be its own protest.
Witnessing humanity.
It's just as courageous to be willing to be optimistic as being willing to be violent, because unfortunately in this world there are far too many people who have that positivity and who think somehow that it's embarrassing or that it's not going to work, or whatever rationalizations we use. Gandhi, he laid down his life for the principle of nonviolence, and there are many people, Martin Luther King, we can name them, but there are just as many nameless, more maybe, millions, who are willing to do this just placidly positive thing, to say, yes, we're going to survive, and we need to survive, or maybe here's what we need to do to survive. We as poets have chosen to put our words there, and that's what we do. Be our words.
I think words are very important. Primarily we live by agreements. We're a society of laws, and what are our laws? They're made of words, and they're made of agreements, and they're more powerful than weapons that you're talking about, or anything else.
Weapons are cheap and easy. Agreements, that's long. And like, what is the expression? Life is short, art is long. Nonviolence is long. Humanity is long. We can pray and hope that humanity will be long enough to survive the violence. But I think that Greg is right, that we have some things to fear, and my concern is that it's typically a pendulum, and as soon as we react, the reaction, every action deserves an equal and opposite reaction. Be careful what your actions are, because the reaction will be just as strong. So Gandhi put a stop, he dug his heels in. He said, shoot me first, I'm not going to shoot you. And
I think we have to fear like a power and control drama. Like, people are working right here to make, for example, energy collectively owned by all the people, and it's like when one party or one person or one corporation decides, we're gonna play this power and control drama, that we all lose some freedom. We become enslaved by that thing, and when it's more equally shared, we're free of that.
I hear a germ of wisdom in that, and I want to pose an issue I'm dealing with and bring it to, like I say, the specificity of an image that's very personal. That I'm living in a question right now. How do I deal with the, shall we say, oppositional frame without getting sucked into it, and you know, how to poke a pin in it for in one way or another, how to counteract the imagery that other people may have, that you know, I mean, it's
I
hard
like
to
to
put
say,
these things.
at any point in time, we have a choice, any point, and that's to choose to act out of love or to act out of fear. You know, for example, when COVID first kind of came about, it was very much like, you know, you talked about the Nazi movement, you know, people were afraid, you know, and in that climate of acting out of fear, all these tiny little petty power and control dramas can come about, you know, and people were personally like defending, like, you have to wear a mask on in this little tiny space, and all these petty power and control dramas, because people, there's this climate of fear. I think when COVID first started, people were very afraid. It was, they didn't know if it was and same with, you know, with the Nazi Holocaust. People were very afraid. It was a climate of fear. But we also have another choice, and it's not wrong. It's not, either one is not wrong. It's just that if I choose to act out of love, I work in one kind of mutually exclusive circle. And it's not wrong to choose to act out of fear. It's another mutually exclusive circle. But your experience will be very different if you make that choice, you know. And my choice is to, you know, choose. It's a preferable thing for me to make my actions out of love. And you can't. They are mutually exclusive. You know, you couldn't tell a person who is sending their kids on the bus to school, like, oh, don't be afraid. They'll be fine. You know, they're in God's hands. They're in the arms of angels. They say, no, these are my children. Like, I'm putting them on the bus. Like, get away from me. Like, don't tell me that crap. You know, they're choosing one mutually exclusive circle, and just like they're telling themselves that, you can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that I'm not in the arms of angels, that I won't be okay, that I won't be carried on, regardless of what happens to me. You know, so those two mutually exclusive circles, and neither one is wrong. That parent that is concerned about putting their kids on the bus, they're not wrong, but they're going to have a very somewhat different experience than possibly the parent that sees it differently.
One of the things
We're gonna have to wrap this up, so, but go ahead.
one of the things you might want to try and do is, I find that when we get in these two sides things, the answer is usually somewhere outside of the whole thing, right? Like, you take COVID, right? Like, the problem with that to me was that the right wasn't wrong in that we should have been afraid of something, but they were just angry and yelling, and they were saying, it's my freedom. It's no, what we missed was community. But community needs to say that you have to be vulnerable, that you want someone else and you need someone else. So in that whole argument, no one ever really gave the issue of our kids are missing community, we're missing community. So I think a lot of times what happens is in these dynamics, you want to figure out what's the kind of third or halfway in between. And I think poetry helps in that it's just playing with ideas and seeing what comes out. And I find often playing with words lets me better see what's that other avenue that neither, like when we're both chatting to there's neither of us are really right, we're too angry, we're too whatever. Figuring out whatever is that kind of calmer other avenues that no one is thinking about. That might be something if you're looking for ways in your poetry to like feel almost better or do something, it's kind of finding those other avenues, if that helps.
Well, how about we make this our community?
Okay.
All right?
May I say something?
Yeah, I have to wrap it up.
I know,
Do you have to leave the room at a certain moment?
Well, yeah, it's after one.
I wanted to say that I'm going to facilitate the sign making workshop next at 2 o'clock. And you're of course all invited to come, and I have materials, but I wanted to come here today to hear you guys, because as poets, you are wordsmiths. Like, I am going to have to lead those people into distilling down what they most want to put on this poster, which can come from your heart. It doesn't have to just address the news line, right? It has to come from their heart to reach other hearts. And it's really hard to distill something to 3, 4, or 5 words that people can drive by and respond to and be reached by. So, like, that's what you have to give. You can start making some good signs, or make them at home and wheat paste them. If you're worried about writing them on the walls and getting, arrested, put them on thin paper and wheat paste them. That's how graffiti artists make these more elaborate things. You can wheat paste something to a wall in less than 5 minutes at night.
One more hopeful word, I guess, that's just, I'm going to have to be Pollyanna again, perhaps, but I think that's the wrong image. That's not what I am. What I am is a force for good. And I wanted to finish some kind of a shoe that hadn't yet dropped in the circle. We were getting flustered and frustrated about counteracting violence or encountering and dealing with it properly. And I have a suggestion that may mediate between the polarities, and that is this. And probably almost everything is a dialectic, but chaos is order we have not yet found. If we can stand in the face of the gun muzzle and place a flower there, maybe a garden will ensue. If we can make art, not war, which is 2 pins I keep leaving home. I've got 2 of them, and I keep leaving them home. But I'll make a sign. Tell you what, I'm your volunteer for your first sign. Make art, not war. Because it really is, it's an alternative, and it's not that. It's not an opposition. It's a suggestion. It's the fruition of that suggestion. And we cannot, I think ever, and this is the personal example I was trying to spit out and couldn't get there. In conversation, I'm always being accused of wanting my way. My son and I are in a terrible argument right now. And it's you want your way. Well, of course I do, don't you? And what we have to realize is that we each want our way. What's wrong? I want to stand up and say, what's wrong with my way? What's wrong with your way? Maybe we can find some mutuality or some sharing or some exchange. We don't have to be opposites because we're different. And I think that's the only solution for conflict resolution.
My way doesn't include killing other people.
That's right.
That have a
There
different
are some
colored skin.
absolutes.
There are definitely absolutes, and
agree.
that's what I'm concerned with.
There are some irrefutable truths involved here. Taking life, that's one of them.
I hate to have to break this up, but
Yeah.
I promised the library.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Mike. Thank you.
There are more of these programs planned, not necessarily here, although I'm talking to Mark about doing more here. We got Highland Library, Plattekill Library, Gardner Library, Elting Library. We're planning something up at Inquiring Minds, so keep in touch and we'll work it out. I want to thank Cheryl and Greg.
I want to thank Mike, Poet Laureate,
Yeah,
Ulster County, is that?
Great.